up here, Sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Zay, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
STU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
What's going on, everybody? This is Tom with Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the best podcast you never heard of, and I am sitting here live right now with Warrior Wrestling CEO, owner, operator, promoter extraordinaire, Mr. Steve Tortorella. How you doing today, Steve?
I'm good, my friend. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well as well.
Doing pretty good. You know, just coming back from a little bit of a hiatus for the show. Got a little bit of a new look, as you can see. And today, obviously, is all about Warrior Wrestling 18 coming up on Saturday. But before we get into that, you guys just recently put out a schedule of events going all the way through the summer. You guys are coming out strong this year.
Yeah, you know, as you and I were talking about off air a moment ago, it's something that we're trying. We can publicly tell people that we're considering 2022 our incubator year, our year where we're going to try different stuff. And for a very long time, we kind of went show by show. We would not announce next show until one show was done or at that show, as we were figuring out who's going to be on shows, what talents, etc. And just the nature of what we're doing and us trying to do different things and spread our wings a little bit and do a little bit more in 2022, we thought it would be important to lay out our dates, at least through the Stadium Series, ahead of time. And honestly, too, that also corresponds with our team being able to make sure that we can do all these, right? Not only is it myself and Eric, but there's a good chunk of people in the team, from logistics in front of house to graphics to videos, etc., who all make these shows what they are. And it's easier for us if we know these are the dates we're going to run, if we're not waiting on a nebulous next date to come. So we decided we're going to throw the gauntlet down and announce a monthly show from now through the end of August. As your listeners probably know, myself and most of our internal team work in schools, so we're not going to run in September because it's the craziest month of the year for schools. But we're going to run every month now through August and see where we are then. The Stadium Series has been a huge hit for us. It came about out of necessity, obviously, during the pandemic in summer of 2020. Eric's idea for Friday Night Lights came to fruition as a COVID-safe show. We took that and we built that into the Stadium Series in 20 and 21. And even post-COVID, which will hopefully be at relatively soon, we hope to have a Stadium Series every summer because it's worked so well. It's been a unique thing that Warrior Wrestling does, a unique experience for the fans and the wrestlers. And so we knew we were going to do that this summer. So we said, let's put those dates on the calendar. And we just kind of filled in from here to then. So yeah, we have laid out a save the date for Warrior Wrestling every month from here through the end of August.
Yeah, and I was surprised. And I mean, you guys not only running every month now, but you guys are branching out a little bit, starting this weekend in South Bend. After that, you're in Cicero, in the suburbs here of Chicago. So yeah, Warrior Wrestling is growing, I would say.
That's the hope. You know, there's nothing wrong with what we were doing and how we were doing it, but can we do it bigger? Can we do it better? Can we take the show to South Bend? We are in discussion with a variety of other venues in other cities as well. Right now, the March, April, and May dates are to be announced. We think one of those will be in the Chicago area. The other one or two might be elsewhere as well. So we are hoping to bring Warrior around the Midwest and then bring all the people we meet in our travels back here in the summer for the Stadium Series.
Well, I know my partner Charlie G was campaigning for the Logan Square Auditorium for one of those dates because that's about a half a mile from his house. So
that would be we've heard that a lot with Cicero. Actually, we've heard a lot of people asking us to come to Cicero for a few years, and for a lot of folks, the south suburbs is a little bit further, and there's no direct public transportation. Whereas at Cicero Stadium, the Pink Line stops a block down the street. Mm-hmm. So that idea of convenience is very much on our mind. I wouldn't rule out Logan Square Auditorium. It's a great venue. I've been there for AAW and Freelance and Chikara and Evolve and other shows. So it's definitely a possibility, but We'll have to see how it all falls together.
And I can't wait. I mean, you guys have already started announcing some matches for the February 12th show in Cicero. But before that, like we just said a minute ago, South Bend, Indiana, this Saturday, January the 22nd, Warriors' first road show, I guess you could say.
Yep, we're excited. And South Bend was the perfect market to start with for a variety of reasons. We want a lot of our Chicago fans to be able to come to the first road show. Well, South Bend is 90 minutes from Chicago. It's straight across I-80 on the toll road. So if you're a die-hard Warrior fan in the Chicago area, you can make the trip out to South Bend. Also, we have a ton of fans that have come to our shows from Indiana and Michigan over the years. Every show, a lot of Indiana and Michigan fans. So our hope was that those people from that area will have a show, like we talked about a minute ago on convenience, a little bit closer to them, a little bit closer to home. I also know the market really well. I spent a lot of time in undergrad and grad school in the South Bend area. And also, Eric and I had helped Impact co-promote a show ahead of Bound for Glory in 2019 in South Bend. We scouted the area, we looked at venues, we did a lot with Impact for that. So we know wrestling in the area, we know the area, and the area is close for our fans. So that was our hope, that it would be a good stepping stone to dip our toes in the water of being a traveling wrestling show.
Yeah, and originally I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. I had a vacation scheduled that kind of got switched around a little bit. So me and Charlie are going to be there in South Bend, as always, doing our usual internet radio broadcast. So let's get into some of these matches that are going to put me and Charlie's announcing skills to the test, like Warrior always does. And the first one I'm going to start off with is former Impact X Division champion, recent free agent Rohit Raju taking on Warhorse.
Yes, this is going to be a battle of two unstoppable forces. If you know Rohit, you know he's got a lot of attitude, a lot of energy, and he's great in the ring. And if you know Warhorse, you know that he's 4,000 pounds of heavy metal. And these two are just going to collide. Like, it's going to be like a car crash on the Indiana toll road, head to head. We're very excited for this one.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. Although I do have to mention, as I'm looking at the flyer here, you did not put Warhorse's name in all caps. He's not going to be happy about that.
I'm going to have to deal with the horse, and I know that.
And so moving on from there, this next one, this match is going to be all about speed. Myron Reed taking on Casey Navarro.
Yes, these guys are, to quote Jim Ross, quick as a hiccup. They are like that in the ring. And we've seen Myron before. He was on Friday Night Lights in an incredible six-man. He was on Stadium Series Part 1 in 2020 with him, Jordan Oliver, and Chris Bay against the Rascals. And now he's back, and he's taking on Casey Navarro, who our fans have seen all year long in 2021 really kind of stake his claim with matches against Cole Radrick and Dante Martin and the GMSI and Alex Shelley and Rocky Romero. So these are two guys who can move, and they are going to be doing a lot of moving in the Bendix Arena on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. This one, I mean, if you blink during this match, you're going to miss something with these two guys in there. And Casey Navarro still has that Warrior medallion for a title shot that has not cashed in yet.
Yeah, he's had bad luck since he's won it. He won the medallion in the GMSI in August, and then he lost to Alex Shelley. He lost to Rocky Romero. I know that is very much on his mind. I know that's very much on the mind of the man who created the GMSI, his mentor, Brian Cage. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because his mentor also has a shot at the title this Saturday. So what happens if KC's mentor, Brian Cage, wins back the Warrior title and Casey's sitting there with that medallion?
Yeah, that does make for some interesting scenarios that could pop up. And also, we saw at the last Warrior show at 17 a little bit of a confrontation with Casey and the current and new Warrior champion Will Ospreay, and that in and of itself could be a fantastic match.
Yes, so that happened backstage just as Will walked through the curtain, and there were some pictures and some video that were snapped of that. So we'll see what happens or where that goes, but Casey is definitely in the mix.
Definitely. And talking about titles for the Warrior Lucha title, now Aramis is the inaugural champion. He's had that title since its inception, and you guys just keep throwing bigger and bigger obstacles in front of him, and this time it's a scramble match with Gringo Loco, ASF, Drago Kid, and Sam Adonis.
Yes. This is so we've tried to change up what we throw at him. Sometimes it's a singles match, sometimes it's a multi-man. So he's defended the belt against Mr. Iguana. He's defended the belt against his teacher, Daga. He's defended in a triple threat with Gringo and Rey Horus. He's defended it against Flamita. And now, as you said, it's a 5-man scramble. So he's seen Gringo before. He's never been in there with ASF or with Drago Kid or with Sam Adonis. And so it's going to be a really interesting challenge for Aramis as he tries to hold on to that title again. He has been the workhorse. We talked about Warhorse earlier. He has been the workhorse of Warrior Wrestling since June. He has been on every show, and he's basically been stealing the show on every show that we've had. And so the question is, can he keep it up?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because when I was looking at the card earlier, I had that exact thought. I'm like, Aramis has been the workhorse for Warrior since he won that title. It's kind of almost harkens back to like back in the 80s. You think about the WWF Intercontinental title. That was like the workers title. People like Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat and Honky Tonk Man and Mr. Perfect. That's kind of what the Lucha title is turning into.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it is the match that you can't miss every show. And as I reflect back on 2021, and I haven't made a formal list, but if I were to rank my favorite Warrior matches from the 5 shows we did in 2021, a lot of the top ones are his matches. I mean, they've just been outstanding, and I don't think that's going to stop come this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the match with him and Daga, and that match was just there are no words to describe how good that match was.
Agreed. I think that match was possibly our match of the year, and it flies under the radar for a lot of people because it didn't have big flashy names from AEW TV or Impact or New Japan, but the actual work and the story that went into that match and the execution, unbeatable.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, a couple of the guys in this match I personally am not real familiar with. Obviously, I know Gringo from a lot of the Warrior shows. Sam Adonis seems to be everywhere these days, so I think pretty much everybody knows him. But ASF and Drago Kid, this will be my first time seeing either one of them. What can you tell me about these guys?
Sure, and that's true for a lot of folks. So they've both done a little bit in GCW the last couple of months. ASF has done a lot on the West Coast as well. Drago Kid's coming to us from Mexico City. He is a prodigy. He is like an Aramis. He is like an Arez. He is just incredibly young and incredibly gifted. And so not only do we want our luchadors, so to speak, people that our fans know, but we want to introduce the next generation too. And just like we had Aramis in early 2020, in February 2020, as he was starting to get his feet wet in the United States, we want the same thing for ASF and Drago Kid. These guys are special, and we want to showcase them for our audience. So you are in the same boat, Tom, as many, where you go, I don't know that name. Mm-hmm. By the end of Saturday, you will know that name.
Yeah, I have no doubt of that. I mean, I think I say it every time we talk. If I've never heard of the person, but they're on a Warrior show, I already know that they're good. I already know it's going to be an entertaining match, so I have no doubts about that. So moving on here, Brian Pillman Jr. returning to Warrior, this time on his own. Last time out, he was with his Varsity Blonde companions. This time he's flying solo, and he's taking on the last real man, Silas Young from Ring of Honor.
Yes, this is the perfect clash of characters. You've got the Varsity Blonde, the former champ, the mullet wearing, Letterman's jacket wearing, free loving, frat boy best friend. That is Brian Pillman Jr. And then you've got the last real man, Silas Young, a guy who has a chip on his shoulder and has for a decade, who wrestles like every match is a barroom brawl, and who does not have any patience or time for a millennial kid like Pillman. It's going to be not only a clash of styles in the ring, it's going to be a clash of philosophies. And that, I think, is what's going to make it most interesting.
Yeah, and I saw this one. It made me kind of think back to the night that Pillman actually won the Warrior title, because he fought twice that night. His first match was a street fight with Bully Ray, of all people. I'm thinking it's going to be that same style of match. Not necessarily a street fight, but the same kind of brawl, basically.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Pillman. He can wrestle over a lot of different styles, but he can fight when he needs to. And
Oh, yeah.
it is absolutely going to be a fight this Saturday.
Yeah, and this is Silas Young's Warrior debut, correct?
It is. We've had our eyes on him for a while. He's been a really impressive wrestler. Followed him through Ring of Honor and through the local Midwest Indies. And we've talked to him from time to time about coming in, and this was the match that I think really fit. So we're grateful to have him on the card.
Yeah, that's going to be another great one. And then another one I think is just going to be a straight-up fight. Filthy Tom Lawler coming back to Warrior, taking on Anthony Henry.
Yes. This is going to be it's two guys who have great MMA backgrounds. This is going to be a shoot-style fight. You know, for those that have seen Lawler at Warrior before with his matches with Kevin Koo or Killer Cross or Chris Ridgway, they're fights. They're like what you would see Tom do inside the octagon. And Anthony Henry has that MMA background as well. And he has had a run at Evolve and a run in NXT as Asher Hale. He's a really impressive fighter. And that's what this is going to be, a strong style fight. Yeah,
and you mentioned Lawler's previous matches at Warrior. The one that always sticks out in my mind is the one with Killer Cross, because those guys beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, it was, you know, some wrestling is finesse, right? It's the luchadors and it's the flight. Other wrestling is smash mouth football, as Mike Ditka used to say, and that's what Tom Lawler is. He's going to smash you in the mouth. Yeah,
and this one I don't think is going to be any different. And that's another Warrior debut is Anthony Henry, his first time out of Warrior.
Yep, we're happy to have him.
And okay, now this next one, I'm not even sure how I would categorize this match. Another Warrior debut, Mil Muertes and Beastman.
I would call this match King Kong versus Godzilla. That's what this match is. For those who don't know, Mil Muertes from Lucha Underground, now with MLW, he is the man of 1,000 deaths. He is the destroyer. He is the final boss that you face in any world, anywhere. And he's going up against the prehistoric behemoth of Warrior Wrestling, Beastman. This is going to be an absolute fight. An absolute collision of two boulders smashing into each other. This is Stegosaurus versus Triceratops. It's everything you want to say about giant objects clashing. So while those other matches we talked about are going to be fights, and some of them might be beautiful fights, this is going to be a bowling shoe ugly collision. And we are here for it.
Yeah, I mean, Warrior was the first place I ever saw Beastman, instantly became a fan of him. Mil Muertes I've been following for years, even before Lucha Underground and his, previous incarnations. But, this is not going to be pretty.
I just hope they don't knock out a wall inside the Century Center.
Yeah, I was wondering, can the ring hold these two guys? I mean, they're what, combined about 700 pounds or so?
Easily. I think we might need to add something to our insurance clause about destruction from evil, undead, demon, and or caveman.
Yeah, and that's one. I mean, it's going to be a fun match. There's no doubt about that with these two going in there. So, and now is Mil Muertes going to be on his own, or is he going to have one of his handlers with him?
I don't know. I mean, both of these guys have had handlers in the past. I think they're both off the chain.
Oh man, that makes it even more interesting. And then from that, we go to a match that, just looking at it on paper, is just pure finesse. Mixed tag team match. Dante Martin and Sky Blue taking on Isaias Velasquez and Kylie Ray.
Yeah, this is just going to be fun. These are four incredibly talented performers, competitors, all of whom have a big following in Chicago. Like Dante through our shows and through Gale Lucha Libre, Sky Blue from AAW and CSW and now Warrior, Kylie and Isaias from, of course, Freelance and Freelance Underground. And they're two real-life couples, too. So they're two real-life couples who want to show that they're the best, And that's one of the interesting things right now in all of the wrestling landscape is there's so many wrestling couples. And we've joked that we need to do a tournament of the wrestling couples. At some point down the line.
Hey, maybe that's how you crown your Warrior Tag Champions.
Yeah, we could have an intergender tag champ. But this is going to be the high-flying, incredible aerial assault of Dante versus the technical prowess of Isaiah. It's going to be the speed and the kicks of Kylie versus the luchador-inspired moves of Sky. It's going to be just fun. It's going to be bodies everywhere and us cheering for everybody.
Yeah, pretty much, because these are all four of these competitors are fan favorites. I mean, the roof is going to blow off the place when Kylie comes through the curtain, like it always does, because she is just so beloved. But, you know, Isaiah and Dante and Sky, same thing. I mean, these are, you know, all fan favorites, so it's going to be hard to pick a side in this one.
Yeah, I'm just rooting for a great match.
I think that's pretty much all you can do. I think me personally, I think everybody knows I have a soft spot for Kylie Ray. I think she is just the most amazing human being ever. So I think that's probably where I'm going to be leaning towards. But I'm also a huge fan of everybody in the match. So it's going to be hard.
Yeah, no, it's going to be special. I'll tell you that.
And then that brings us to the main event. Brian Cage finally getting his one-on-one rematch for the Warrior title that he never lost, taking on the new Warrior champion Will Ospreay.
This is a match that we have talked about since 2018, so almost 4 years. Since Brian Cage was crowned champion in the middle of 2018. He and Eric and I talked about what that title reign would look like and how he wanted to defend it against the best people in the world. And Will Ospreay's name was on the top of that list. And for a variety of reasons, it never came together while Cage was champ. And now Ospreay is champ, and Cage finds himself as the challenger. As we've said in the press release and in some of the videos that'll be coming out, Brian Cage not only has never been pinned or submitted in Warrior Wrestling, he's been pinned clean once or submitted clean once in the last, I believe, 5 to 6 years. And that was when Darby Allin defeated him with a top rope crucifix bomb a year ago on Dynamite. Any other time Brian Cage has been defeated in the last 6 years has been by interference, distraction, or other things. Brian Cage is an unstoppable force. Will Ospreay is currently one of the best wrestlers in the world. I don't know who wins this. I don't know who loses this. But I can tell you what, the fans are going to come out on top regardless of who wins it, because it's going to be an incredible match because we have two very motivated, very talented performers. We're going to give it their all to win and give it their all for the fans to go home happy.
Yeah, and I mean, just Ospreay, of course, just won the Warrior Championship at Warrior 17 in what I would call a little bit of a shocker. You know, there was kind of a collective gasp when he got the 3 count and won the title. Not that I don't think it was that anybody thought he couldn't defeat the two opponents in the match, but I think it was just purely unexpected.
Yeah, and that there's a video we're releasing today, or I think they might have put it out yesterday, that captures that moment. And we actually have a few other videos on YouTube that show it. But it is, like you said, it was a shock. I mean, there was an audible gasp. Kirby, our ring announcer, we were in the Tinley Park Convention Center, so it was a large venue. Kirby, our ring announcer, was seated with Richard, who runs our sound, over against the wall. And we heard the 3 count in the bell, and Kirby popped up. And he didn't announce it at first because he couldn't see, and he wasn't sure if he saw what he thought he saw. And he ran towards the ring, and he looked at me, and he looked at Eric, and there was a delay until Will stood up, and the referee handed him the belts and held it up. Then it confirmed for the announcers, for the ring announcer, for everybody in the back, oh my God, Will Ospreay just won this title. It was truly a shocking moment.
Yeah, and I remember exactly what you're talking about because Kirby was like right next to us where me and Charlie were set up because we were right next to the sound guys. So it was, and even me and Charlie were like, wait, did that really just happen? And I had to like stand up on my chair to see over the crowd to make sure that I had seen what I saw.
Yeah, it was truly a shocker. And now it's like, well, now that Will's got it, who could possibly beat him? You know, Will said his words after the match were, I am the standard for professional wrestling. The only person that's beaten Will Ospreay in the last year and a half is Kazuchika Okada. So anybody, Brian Cage or anybody else, is going to have to be as good as Kazuchika Okada to beat Ospreay. And
yeah,
that's a tall task.
Yeah, that is a huge order because for my money, the last 3, 4, 5 years, Okada, for my money, is the best in the world. You know, But obviously that's subjective. But like I said, for me personally, I put him just maybe that much above an Ospreay or Kenny Omega or people like that. So, but actually talking about that, I gotta ask you as the owner of Warrior, how was it for you to see Ospreay carrying the Warrior Championship into the Tokyo Dome?
It was surreal. It really was. And it's something that Eric and I had talked about when Will won the title. We didn't ask Will to say that afterwards. He just said it himself and said he was going to do it. But it shows that the little thing that we made its way literally all the other way around the world to the biggest stage of wrestling on that side of the earth. And outside of WrestleMania and maybe All Out, the Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdom is the biggest thing in wrestling. And so not only was our belt there, but it was walked down the ramp by a person we believe to be the best wrestler in the world. And it was held up on the turnbuckles by him as the announcers talked about it before the main event in the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. If nothing else, if the meteor hits tomorrow and we're done, we're damn proud of that. We're damn proud that one of the best wrestlers in the world, in a series of some of the best wrestlers in the world, has held our title, right? Not only the men's title, but the women's title has been Thunder Rosa and Kylie Ray and Tessa Blanchard. We've been incredibly blessed. And that's the feeling I thought of as I watched it. Just how blessed we are to work with such incredible performers and just how far we've come from the idea in the back of our minds. It was surreal.
Yeah, I know I didn't watch Wrestle Kingdom live, but I saw all the posts that went up on social media of the video of Ospreay coming down, with the Warrior Championship, and I mean, it was surreal for me just as a fan. Like, wow, that's the Warrior title. That's the title that I've held and taken pictures with guys like Brian Cage and Trey Miguel, and it's in the freaking Tokyo Dome now.
Yeah,
so that
it was an out of body experience.
Yeah, I and that was my first thought. It's like, God, what must Steve be feeling right now seeing this? So.
Yeah, so I didn't watch it live. I considered watching it live, but we had school meetings and things, and so I couldn't stay up all night. So when I woke up in the morning, I pulled up Twitter on the phone and saw a lot of comments and mentions, and went back and watched it that evening after school, and it was really surreal. It was a really, really cool feeling.
Yeah, that's huge congratulations to you for where Warrior has gone and where it is going. I mean, I've said it all along, but obviously my opinion is a bit biased. But, for me, Warrior is the best independent promotion out there right now, just because the caliber of talent that you guys get, the quality of matches that you guys put on. So some of the matchups that people might not even think of if they're putting together a wrestling card in their head, and it's like, oh, that really works, and it was a great match. So huge congratulations to you on all the success that Warrior's having.
Thank you. We love what we do, and we're going to do it until the wheels fall off. So
I hope so. And
without people like you jumping on board the train.
And hopefully you'll let me just keep coming along for the ride, because I'm having a blast.
Dude, this train, all are welcome, and we're not slowing down.
Awesome. So that pretty much wraps up the card for Saturday, Warrior Wrestling 18. I just want to touch on one thing that really kind of caught my eye, because you've already started announcing talent for Warrior 19 coming up in February in Cicero. But another debut that I just wanted to touch on, because it's one of my favorite tag teams. I've never had the opportunity to see them live. Them boys, the Briscoe brothers.
Dude, they've been on our wish list for forever.
I honestly never thought I would see them at Warrior, and when I saw that announcement, I'm there no matter what. I have to see this.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. And they're facing the Workhorsemen, who are an incredible team, Anthony Henry and JD Drake.
Yes.
And I know both teams are very excited about that match. So we're going to get peak Briscoe brothers, because they love this match. They want this match. And in 2022, they're trying to tear it up all across the country. They've been the GCW champs for a couple of months. They're still holding the Ring of Honor titles. When Ring of Honor comes back, they will represent that brand. So they are on a mission to reestablish that they are, the team. And this match might do it.
Yeah, I mean, the case could definitely be made for the Briscoes to be the best tag team in wrestling. So But yeah, I can't wait for that one. But that's February, so first we got to get through this Saturday. So why don't you run down all the info for the show for everybody out there who might be living under a rock and not know yet.
You got it. All the info's on warriorwrestling.net, our website, tickets, FanFest ideas, everything you could possibly want is all there. Our socials are at Warrior Wrestling, no vowels in wrestling, so WRSTLNG. It's this Saturday, January the 22nd in South Bend, Indiana. FanFest is 5:30 to 7. Bell time is 7:30. All these times are Eastern. So if you're a Chicago person, it's an hour ahead of what you're used to. So noon in Chicago is 1 o'clock in South Bend. So a 7:30 bell in South Bend means the show starts at 6:30 Chicago time. So make sure you plan your way to get out there. Tickets are still on sale, although they are getting kind of sparse. The first few rows are sold out. Some of the back rows are sold out. We had to reconfigure and reopen some GA. So we're going to have a packed house in South Bend. You do not want to miss this venue. It is unbelievable. It was an old theater in the round. They turned into an esports arena, leather seats all around, professional lighting and sound. It is going to be unlike any experience you've had before. Really cool entranceways from under the fans, kind of like if you're a WWF fan, the way Madison Square Garden used to have that door that they'd come out of. That's how the wrestlers will come out of the show. So it's a totally immersive experience. There is not a bad seat in the house. It's Coliseum style, so the seats go up like a bowl. So even the last row looks down right on the ring. You're not way far away in like a big convention center space. So if you like seeing wrestling in great venues, if you like seeing amazing matches, you can't miss it. Drive out to South Bend. I promise you won't regret it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen a few pictures of the arena. It looks fantastic. I can't wait to actually like get in there and get a closer look at it. And of course, the event will also be on Fight TV as well, right?
Yes, sir. You can watch it live if you can't be there in person.
And of course, as always, me and Charlie will be doing our broadcast on the Podbean app, which I'll be posting the link for the live feed coming up here either today or tomorrow. But so yeah, me and Charlie, I know when I told Charlie that I had postponed my vacation and we'd be able to make it to for the South Bend show, he was like through the roof excited because I actually mentioned I was chatting with Val Capone not long ago, and I'm like, I think Steve is punishing me for not making this show just because he's booking all of my favorite people.
Well, and now you'll be here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I'm making this show. If I'm postponing my vacation, I'm at least going to South Bend. So I traded Vegas for South Bend. I don't know if that's an even trade-off, but
you know, in some ways yes, in other ways no. But on a Warrior Wrestling weekend, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm coming out ahead on this one. So I'm definitely happy with the decision. But so I think that pretty much wraps us up. We will definitely want to get you back on before the February show, and before each one of these, if it's possible, to do the same thing like we always do, run down the card and talk about how great the show is going to be.
I will be happy to be back, my friend.
Awesome. Well, Steve, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you do for the show as always, and I will see you on Saturday.
Tom, great to see you. I'll see you soon, and be safe driving to South Bend.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Have a good one.